Hey there people, how's it going? This is Cross the Rubicon channel. I've just been sent a link by a good friend of mine who's told me about the New Zealand Media Council's decision on a poem that caused so much controversy about a month ago in New Zealand by a celebrated poet who's a Pacific Islander, and her name is Tuita Avia. The poem was called The Savage Colonizer. Check it out, I'll leave a link below. She won awards for this poem and Stuff News and other news outlets in New Zealand because the standards of journalism and, well, almost everything, most certainly the standards of media and journalism in New Zealand is that bad. They praised this and they aired it on Stuff News, celebrating this poem. And the poem is quite clear. It's quite clear that she is advocating for the violence and murder of white men in Christchurch and beyond in New Zealand. She's advocating for white men to be stuck with pig knives by groups of brown girls in cars. That is what she says in the poem. This is celebrated by the media in New Zealand. And if you don't agree, like I'm not agreeing now, in New Zealand, that's the state of this country right now, then you're a racist and you're a bigot. Could you imagine if it was someone, and it sounds racist, but it's not racist. Could you imagine if it was someone who was white saying the same thing about brown people? What would happen to them? They'd be in jail by now. At the very least, they would be destroyed by the very same media who promote this lady and her most disgusting, repugnant vitriol and calls for extreme violence and murder of white men on the streets of Christchurch and beyond. Celebrated. I think it was 11 complaints went in to the Media Council and nothing. They're not going to do nothing about it. Her poem is being upheld, and what are you complaining about? Shut up, little white men and white women. No one cares what you think. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of Maori, there's plenty of Samoans and Tongans and Pacific Islanders and Indians and Chinese who were upset by this poem too. But the thing is, she pointed out white men to be killed on the streets of Christchurch. The poem that she reads out on camera, check it out below in the link, is absolutely shit. It's shit. She's a celebrated poet, and my God, I could write better poetry. I could go in now, and within 5 minutes I'd write a better poem than that. It was bloody awful. But regardless of how awful it was, it's what was said in the poem and what it calls for. That's the problem. And because the colour of her skin, and because she's a Pacific Islander who suffered some kind of colonial oppression, which is bollocks, the media say, oh my God, that's so fantastic. Oh, they gush over her. And instead they come after people who complain about what she said. I wonder if a gang of brown girls, I expect they'll be Pacific Islanders, because that's what she is, go out in the car, some night in Christchurch. They pull up alongside a white man and they all jump out with their pig knives and stab him to death as she is calling for. I wonder if the media is going to put it back on Tuita Avia's poem. No, they won't. They'll probably blame me for making this video. Because in New Zealand now, it has been decided that if you're, and I hate to say this because it makes me sound racist, but it's not racist, this is actual fact, that if you're a racial minority, then it's impossible for you to be racist. It's impossible. So you have carte blanche to say and do as good as act in any way you want. That's where we are here. And that might sound racist, but hey, facts are facts. And that's it. This is where we are. This is the stupidity of where we are under the man that's Chris Hipkins and that thing that left office a couple of months ago. Nothing's changing. And probably nothing will change, even if National got in. Fundamental change needs to happen here. Fundamental change needs to happen in New Zealand. And the current crop that are vying for your vote in New Zealand, they can't even define a woman. They refuse to. The lead contender to be the next Prime Minister, Chris Luxon, actually said recently he's never even heard of the WEF. Come on. Come on now. And people believe this. And he's the lead contender to be the next Prime Minister. So that's where we are. We've got a current crop of very, very bad politicians vying for power. We've got a media that's truly, well, I believe it's got to be the worst in the world. Okay, we're only a very, very small country, but we are a major Western nation. What you could say was a Western democracy. But people that look like me are being completely marginalised. And now they've been very publicly threatened with extreme acts of violence and murder just because they've got the same skin colour as Captain Cook. And that is where New Zealand is. So, I'll leave a link below to Tuita Avia's video, and you can watch it. Watch it and watch it again, because you're not going to believe what you're watching. And she won awards for this. Awards. Even though the poem is really that shit. Pardon my French, but it really is that bad. If I wrote it, I wouldn't have got anywhere. They would have laughed at it. Mind you, if I wrote it, I would have been arrested. I'd probably be in jail right now. Okay, I think that's all I need to say. This is Cross the Rubicon. Please like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel and share this video everywhere. If you want to buy me a coffee, I'll leave a link below. But watch the video. And try not to vomit blood. Okay, see you later.